the critic he had a fight with tasted his Cuban, and now he's going to finance his restaurant, and yeehaw, everything's back to the brutality. All because I took a road trip with my kid and I made some pork.
Yep.
Welcome to SinCast, presented by Cinemasins.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the SinCast. This is Chris Atkinson from Cinemasins, joined as always by the voice of Cinemasins, Jeremy Scott. Yeah. You're going to hear that again. Mark my words. You will hear that scream again.
That was more of a Howard Dean in 2004.
You know what, though? It's funny. I had seen some clips of that from different camera angles and everything, and he didn't do as crazy. Like, it didn't sound as crazy,
really,
in other clips, because it was just something that happened on that particular one, and I don't remember all the
weird.
Yeah, because if you looked at it on other ones, I think on that one it was you didn't know that there was a loud crowd.
Yeah. Plus his mic may have clipped or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
and so like in the other ones, you could hear the crowd. So he's like trying to get over that, but I don't think it even sounds like that in other things. But yes, the Howard Dean is what it sounds like. And from music video since Barrett Share.
Oh, Showtime.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been a week, so you guys are probably upset about something.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
I'm as mad as hell!
You've never seen me very upset.
Lord Jesus! Lord Jesus!
I've got a simple one. I'll go first. Okay. So typically when I'm browsing online, it's 90% through Twitter, and that's kind of embarrassing that I say that. But like typically that's like my aggregate to go out, whether it's like a sports thing or whether it's a entertainment thing or whether it's a cooking thing or something like that. It usually comes from my Twitter feed and then it goes to their website. 90% of the time, if I'm looking at Twitter, it's on my phone, and I've got the app. I know you don't do that, but I've got the app, and so it bounces out into the iPhone browser. Even with that, like occasionally I'll get non-mutable videos or something like that, or ads on the site or something like that. So the other day I was just messing around and I went to just a regular site like Deadspin or something like that. Or Food and Wine magazine. We're looking up a recipe. And I was absolutely on my laptop, on my PC. I know I've got a PC. Just step into the 2000s and get a Mac. But I was absolutely bombarded by not only ads, unmutable video ads, banner ads, location status, allow block, sign up for our newsletter. It is as bad as I have ever seen it in my entire life. And I guess Apple filters out a lot of that stuff. It doesn't always, but I was shocked to be reminded about how bombarded you are with shit when you go to websites.
There's a couple websites that I like to read. I think it was either the Hollywood Reporter or it's one of those Hollywood news type websites that I had to mute the entire website in Chrome, so because it would play auto-playing video and audio ads that I could never fucking find on the page to mute or turn off.
Yeah, Billboard does that too.
And it's really, really offensive, and I hate it.
Yeah.
I don't know that the Macs are like free of that shit. I think that's part urban legend, part used to be back in the day, and isn't so. So now I think what we're dealing with are people who use ad blocker and people who don't. I don't, for a number of reasons, because there are websites I do want to support their advertising. Same with videos on YouTube for creators that I like. But yeah, it does seem like it's gotten worse than ever. The really annoying thing for me, to piggyback on your rant, is the sign up for our newsletter thing that they pop up when you're about to leave the page.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'm not going up to leave the page. I'm going up to reread something I read above, but I still get that, oh, you're leaving? Here's our newsletter. Sign up for our newsletter. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm not even leaving yet.
Yeah.
You mistimed it. Your trigger is too sensitive, you dicks.
Yeah. I also wonder how effective are all of those things. Like, are they just effective enough? Is that why we keep seeing them?
I have a buddy that works in actually building these widgets.
Yeah.
And putting them, like implanting them into websites. And I think it does. I think it works just enough to where there is a profitable sort of outcome for it.
There's also, just like in any walk of life, there are savvy ad buyers and stupid ad buyers. And stupid ad buyers are probably buying in bulk from a distributor that then pushes their ads out to many sites, and they're probably paying for impressions rather than clicks. They're probably paying for page views. This ad that you paid for was shown 10,000 times. Who knows how many people looked at it? The savvy people on the far end, they're only paying when there's some kind of a customer action done. So a lot of the advertising you're talking about that's bombarding us is just fulfilling their end of the deal to get the money. We put the ad. We put 15 of them on every page, but we put those ads up, and those are all impressions, and we get paid for that.
I tell you, somewhat related is I'll go to certain sites sometimes, and the page will load, and it's like, okay, this is what I want. Like, I'll go to a blog, and I want to see the comments on it or whatever, and I'm like, all right, press on the comments, and then the page changes slightly to where they've loaded some other like graphic or something that pushes that thing that you were clicking on down, and then suddenly you're clicking on something that you had no intention of clicking on. And it's on purpose. I'm certain it's on purpose.
Yeah, I mean, they've got, this is very much like almost Idiocracy, right? Where like every pixel on the thing has some sort of purpose that could go to an ad. And I understand why they do it. I understand that you have to bombard to get some sort of value out of your advertising. But I do notice a big difference between the phone and, you're right, the phone is getting worse, by the way. And, I've got a fairly new iPhone, not the newest one, but there's a night and day difference between using a PC and going to a website, and even something like Billboard, Hollywood Reporter, Food and Wine, Deadspin, something like that. SI is really bad about this. And, all you're doing, I understand why you're doing it, but all you're doing is annoying me enough to where I'm not going to go to your site whatsoever.
Yeah.
So,
welcome to Costco. We love you. Welcome to Costco. We love you.
Yeah, so that's my old man rant. I know people have done the ad blocker and stuff like that, and most people are past this, but I'm not smart enough to get past all that.
All right. I'm gonna get a twofer in here. I'm gonna sneak a twofer in here because I think we have ranted unofficially about this first topic. And having just recently gone to Baltimore and D.C. for 2 days, spent time in 2 airports, 2 big convention hotels, 1 baseball game at a stadium, several busy city streets. Do not stop walking in the middle of a busy pedestrian thoroughfare, you dickheads. I think that asshole. I think I lost a whole hot dog in Memorial Park at Camden Yards, a baseball stadium with the Baltimore Orioles. This is, by the way, a game attended by roughly 4,000 people. And I lost a whole hot dog because this woman in front of me stopped with her husband, and I stopped abruptly. Hot dog comes flying out of the little plastic container. It's okay, though, because she was sorry.
Yeah.
All right.
So that paid for my next hot dog. I just walked her over by the ear to the hot dog vendor and said, she's sorry, give me a free one.
Yeah.
Stuff your sorries in a sack.
I honestly feel like you are signaling to the world a lack of empathy if you stop in the middle of a busy, like in the airport, at the hockey game. You are saying, you are all computer-controlled, non-player characters, and I am the only real human being. Therefore, I can stop right here, and you will shift around me. The easy, the obvious, the nice thing to do is slowly work your way to the outside. This is a current. This is a stream. This is a river, and you have to be part of it. You can't just act like a human once you're in the middle of the river.
Yeah. This was actually something that I was thinking about ranting about once I got back from Vegas, because every single place that I went to had this problem. And I was sitting there like I was even like getting like deep philosophical about it and everything. I was just like sitting there just going, like, the problem is, man, the people who aren't in motion, they're the problem. People, it's like it's in at the Rio when you're playing the World Series of Poker and everything, and they unleash thousands of people during a break, which is impossible to do anything that you're supposed to do in the 20 minutes that they give you. You're walking, everybody's walking down the same hallway down to the same place. But there are still people who are having conversations in the middle of this. 3 people in a sort, like in their little circle, just like, yeah, man, I can't believe that I had aces. And then this guy called me with Jack 8 and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, dude, go outside with this.
Yep.
That little pocket right there is part of the problem, but there's other little pockets that are the problem. You already have a whole like hallway filled with people trying to sell you stuff, and that's annoying, and that's already compacting the space as
really?
it is. Yes.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yes, they're all over the place. There's when you walk, there's a little concession stand just before you get to the main hallway, and there's a guy who's like, cell phone protector. Hey, sir, you want a cell phone protector? And he keeps saying that stuff. And then you go around, there's all these tables set up. People selling different kinds of playing cards, and people selling massages, and people selling, tables.
Handies.
Yeah, handies. Hell yeah, it's Vegas.
There was he at 20 minutes?
There was a vendor at the Orioles game who kept yelling, "Beer man! Hey, that's me!"
Nice.
But yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? It's the people, those people don't know the idea of getting out of the way to do their thing. They have to do it right there for some reason, and I'll never understand it. The airport is a big problem because it always seems like you have to follow somebody who's walking. You can't find your own lane.
Right.
And that somebody inevitably always seems to find a way to stop in front of you. I hate it when people are already stopped. Like this happens at the grocery store a lot. Your grocery store, I've already ranted about that, where they have all these displays everywhere that already block some of your space. But then you have people who are in the one, there's only room for one person to walk in these little aisles. And so like sometimes you see a person who stopped and you see another person coming on the other side who's coming the other way. And you're like, okay, well, I'm going to have to do some mental math to keep going here. And so you figure out just the right thing, and the person who stopped suddenly starts moving.
Yeah.
And then it screws everything up. Why can't you just stay where you are right now?
No awareness.
Yeah, no awareness at all. That's what it comes down to. Just no awareness and don't care about other people.
I agree.
My second is a Recca Warren of a rant because it's praise and rant.
All right.
And that's the current state of the closed caption glasses at movie theaters. So Chris and I went to see Ad Astra the other day, and the movie has a lot of narration.
Oh, yeah?
I'll speak about this movie at length later in the podcast, but it opens, and in the first 3 minutes, Brad Pitt's like, "My father went to space when I was 16." And I was like, yep, got to go get the caption glasses. I'm not going to understand a single thing he says.
Oh, so you left.
So I got up, went down, got the caption glasses, came in. Now, these things are fucking magic because they're clear glasses. I've talked about these before. Something on the side, on the rims, projects the text onto the clear glasses. And here's the real stroke of genius. I can adjust where that projection is.
Really? You can get it at the top or the bottom?
I can get it at the top or the bottom. I can get it in dead center of the picture, depending on where I want to put my head. I can adjust that. What I can't adjust is how fucking tight the thing is back when it gets to my ears. And they made this thing out of, like, molten metal that they shaped to cause cranial damage. And I'm just like, how can you make the direction of the text adjustable, but the actual grip strength of the glasses is not only not adjustable, but tight as fuck. An 11-year-old boy would get hurt wearing this shit. So I don't know if Chris noticed, but every few minutes I had to take them off. And I was trying to time it for non-dialogue sections, like the monkeys, so that I wouldn't miss anything. But it hurts too much to wear for 2 hours. How can we be at this point in society? How can we make something that is both super efficient and really dumb?
Yeah, they used the leftover ET cartridges when they made those things. I didn't actually notice that you were wearing that until the credits.
Oh, okay.
I didn't even notice. But yeah, it's amazing how far we've come on those things. I remember first getting prints that had subtitles on it, and they had to schedule special shows for it. And you had people who were always like, can you like take the subtitles off? Can you not? Because there would not all the time would it be needed. Like people would just be wanting to see the show. And so, like, you know, like, could you run the normal one? Sorry, no, we can't do that. And then they became a whole different projector that shot subtitles on the screen. And,
2 projectors?
Yeah, you had your regular projector, and then you had another one that was just attached over here somewhere that just shot. And when it was time for a show, you warmed it up, and then when you played it, it would just play the subtitles.
Huh.
And you also had discs that would play the audio description and stuff for a visual impair. But yeah, it's gotten all the way now to where it's in the glasses and they can do it for every show, and it's awesome.
Yep, it's fantastic. I love it. I don't want to complain too much, but it's like the design was made strictly for function and not for comfort.
Should bring like a headband or something.
I mean,
like that.
every other show, I don't even bother getting them because they're so painful. And if I know it's going to be something big, like John Wick 3, I didn't bother getting them because I knew whatever dialogue I miss, that's not what I'm here for anyway.
Yep.
But with that Astra, half the movie is this ponderous inner monologue, and I needed to know it. I thought I needed to know what he was saying. Ultimately, not so sure.
That's funny. Do you, because you use captions on TV, right?
Yeah, if I'm watching something, like for instance, in the Mubi movie that I'm going to talk about, where everybody has Scottish accent.
Oh, are they Scottish?
Yeah. Then I had to put subtitles on for that. Anytime where there's anytime where I think that I can't hear somebody, and dialogue is very important, I usually put it on, and I usually put it on almost everything. I can watch most movies without it, but it gives you so much more that you didn't know, that you wouldn't have known if you hadn't. Like for instance, Game of Thrones. I watched all of Game of Thrones without subtitles, the entire first run. Then the second time I ran through it, I put it on subtitles, and I was like, "Oh, that makes sense. What he's saying now. Oh, and that's a character's name. I didn't know that he was saying some character's name.
Like it'd be like that's a very good point, because even if you don't have any hearing impairment, it can underscore. Like I imagine the first season of The Wire, if you went in cold but you had captions on. Groovy. My first season of The Wire, I was 6 episodes in, and I was like, who the fuck is who?
Yeah.
I don't remember who was, there's like 400 characters in that show, but seeing it and it underlines hearing it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, and I think these shows think you're supposed to know that when they say these names and these whatever, these place names and everything, that you're supposed to know. Like just instinctively what these things are. And I didn't. I went through Game of Thrones. I was like, oh, he's talking about a place here, and he's talking about this person and all that, and I just glossed it over last time. That's why, like 30 minutes into the movie, you sit there. 30 minutes into the show, sometimes you're like, "What were they doing again? Yeah. What was the point of this? I don't understand where they were going." So yeah, I put it on quite a bit, actually. I'm sure my hearing is not very good. I'm sure if I took one of those tests, they would say you have the hearing of somebody who's 60, because I've gone to a lot of concerts and stuff in my life. But yeah, I like to use them now and again.
But you've never used glasses?
No, I've never used glasses.
They hurt.
It sounds like a cool idea, but that's
I probably could have used them during that Astra, because there were some moments in there I didn't pick up.
All right.
I don't have much of a rant at all, so we can go on to the next thing.
Oh, yeah?
Oh,
yeah.
Groovy.
So we are going to revisit something we haven't revisited for a couple of years, I guess.
Yeah.
The Poor Bastard, Lucky Bastard in movies. I guess, was it about 2 years ago last time we did it? We did another one that got lost.
There was one in episode 20, and I think... that was the only one that aired, and I think we did another one after that did not
lost to time.
Yeah.
Well, now we're on episode 3,760, so it's been a long time.
That's right.
Poor bastard. You poor man. I pity the fool.
I think wasn't the impetus for this one of the impeti? Is it really?
No. I think it's impetuses.
Impetuses was, I think Jeremy saying that Mr. French in The Departed, the dude that like just decided from like, hey, I'm going to pull off this heist to fuck it, I'm going to
blow my own head off. Yeah,
and that's a very Poor Bastard moment where like his world changed in like 2 seconds,
the blink of an eye.
Yeah. So what are some of the biggest poor bastards in cinema history?
I'm gonna go with Jeff Daniels and Speed.
First he gets shot, then he gets blown up.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
So at the beginning in the elevator part, like they have that, he and Keanu have that discussion about what would you do if, the hostages are there or whatever, and Keanu makes a crack and shoot the hostages.
He makes that original crack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then later when Jeff Daniels actually is a hostage, Dennis Hopper, Daniels gives him the okay and he shoots him in the leg and he just kind of falls limp to the ground. And Jeff Daniels is like, "You fuck."
Oh, he doesn't have a very good. Yeah, he doesn't have a very good 24 hours.
Yeah. So like he's actually I don't know how long it is because he does have a long enough time to get a cast and get a medal for his stuff and everything, and then Dennis Hopper's back on the trail. He's got the bomb on the bus and everything. Daniels actually it is maybe 24 hours because he says, no, wait a minute, because Keanu's been drinking or something.
No, yeah, because
they were all drinking.
Bar. Yeah, they all after they prevent the bomb from going off at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Then they go out and get drunk.
I still think maybe it's like a week, maybe.
It must be because, you're right. He's got the cast and everything. But Daniels in that time gets fucking wasted.
Yeah.
And he makes that crack. He's like, I'm going to go have sex with my wife.
I'm going to go home, have some sex. And he's like, Harry, you're going to go home and puke. And he's like, well, that'll be fun too.
Then he's so fucking hungover that he's probably fine with getting blown up.
Yeah, Keanu calls him when he's on the bus, and Jeff Daniels answers the phone like, "You better not be calling in sick because I dragged my ass in," and blah blah blah. And so he's the bomb expert. He was going to be the guy who like dismantled the bomb on the elevator. They're calling him. He's got all the real expertise and all this, and then he's got his two lackeys or whatever looking for who could possibly do this, and he actually gets the idea. It could be a former cop that's doing this. So when they finally find the Dennis Hopper character, they're like, he's like, "That's our scumbag," and they go to his house, and he's the one leading the charge. Jeff Daniels is leading the charge into this house, and he's he goes in there, and he's like, they got all their riot gear on and everything, and he's looking around, and then he just looks up and he sees this red light go bing, and the camera it focuses on him. He's like, I'm done.
Yeah.
It's just I'm done. And the house explodes and everything, and I feel like in a way he's an unsung hero in that movie. Ooh. If you were to talk about Speed, how many people would bring up Jeff Daniels in that movie? Yeah,
nobody would. You think of Canoe and Dennis Hopper, and then everybody on the bus.
Sandra Bullock. Yeah. It feels like his contribution is lost because he goes to the house that Dennis Hopper's not at that house, so it seems like sort of a failure in a way. And he's not on the bus, and he's not able to get the bomb dismantled because he's done all these things to the bomb to make it where it can't be dismantled.
Well, but he makes it. You're right, because Canoe doesn't have anywhere near the expertise that Jeff Daniels' character does, right?
No, there's a point where he gets wheeled under the bus, and he's supposed to like go through all these like different cut scenarios, and Jeff Daniels is the one giving him all that stuff, and then he's like, I see a little wire over here, you could maybe cut it, and he's like, no, that's a classic decoy and all that, and you have Alan Ruck going, that's a classic decoy.
Oh darn.
But like everything, like, so even when his expertise is demanded in this movie, they can't do anything.
Yeah.
So like everything he does seems to get like shortchanged in the movie.
Yeah.
And he's the one who's like an actual badass.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Keanu's a badass too, but Jeff Daniels has got all the he's got all the knowledge and everything, and he's figured out who it is and everything, but everything he does comes up short.
Yeah. I don't know you, man.
Let's not do this.
I don't care about your crime. Well, I have a couple of mine on each list. Lucky bastard, poor bastard are like flip sides of the same coin from the same movie.
Oh, nice.
So I may go a little out of order here, but I've been watching Match Point a lot lately.
Really?
I guess it recently came on one of the movie channels, and I had never watched it start to finish. There's a genre here between this and Unfaithful of movies that appear to be about adultery for 2/3 of the way and then suddenly become about murder.
Yes.
And I'm searching for a third film, and I will put together that 3 feature. I don't know what the third film would be, but this movie is totally about adultery until it's about murder. And then it's very murder.
Yes, it is.
So the poor bastard, there are 2 of them. The old lady who lives next door to ScarJo.
Yes.
Who only has to die to help sell the story that this was a burglary, drug robbery gone wrong. And he even does this. It's John Rhys Meyers?
Yeah.
Jonathan Rhys Meyers.
Rhys Meyers. He does this thing after he kills her where he sits on the couch and you can see the shame, man. He hates himself for it. But he still has already decided this is the only road for me.
Yeah.
The other poor bastard is fucking ScarJo.
Yep.
Because when the movie opens, she's dating Rhys Meyers' girlfriend's brother. And the parents, the mom especially, are giving her shit about being an actress. Why are you still trying to do this? Why don't you let it go? It's a kid's dream. She's being shit on from the beginning. She storms off into the rain because she's being shit on by her boyfriend's parents. And Rhys Meyers comes out and he's like, hey, want to do it in the wheat?
Yeah.
Want to do it in the rain and the wheat?
Yeah.
That's the single most physically uncomfortable place to have sex.
Yeah.
And they do. And then she gets dumped by the guy, right? Then Rhys Meyers bumps into her like a year later at the art gallery, and he's very persistent. She even says, why are you asking me these questions? Don't you have a wife? Aren't you still married? She's like, she pushes away a few times, and then finally, he seduces her. They start having an affair. She gets pregnant.
Yeah.
He keeps promising, I'm going to tell my wife and leave her to come be with you. I don't feel like ScarJo does much wrong in this movie at all, and then she just gets murdered.
She doesn't at all. And, I mean, she's a femme fatale in a broader sense. Like, she's flirting with him from the very beginning, but not in an antagonistic way. It's just like they're connected. Like they have this attraction to each other from the very beginning, even before she breaks up with the boyfriend and he gets married and all that stuff. If I remember this correctly, he's married into money, and that's why he's so tenuously holding on to this, and that's why he's got to do this to get out, right?
Yes. Now they are not.
But there's
married.
a million different things that he could have done.
Yes, but that is the deal. He's married into this money. He's got this great job that the father-in-law gave him. There's a brand new deal at the end that's going to make them all 10 times richer. And he ultimately realizes if he has to choose, that's the life he would. He even has this conversation with his friend about, I'm thinking about leaving my wife for this other girl. And the friend ultimately is like, doesn't really sound worth it, man. Yeah. You're going to lose everything. Yeah. The lucky bastard is the fellow tenant who leaves his apartment after the old lady is shot, stops by her. He apparently checks on her. Bangs on the door. Rhys Meyers is inside the door hiding, hoping that this guy's just going to go away. Guy goes downstairs and outside of the apartment building runs into ScarJo, who then goes inside and dies. And that dude was 10 seconds either way from being the third victim.
That's true. That's true.
And I have watched that movie probably 4 times in the last week.
Interesting.
I don't know why. There's something very compelling about it.
I love that movie.
Match Point's great.
Yeah.
There's another aspect to it is I think Rhys Meyers, is it Emily Mortimer that's his girlfriend in that? Or wife? It's wife, right?
It's wife.
Turns into wife.
And he can't get her pregnant is a big deal, and ScarJo gets pregnant almost immediately, and she has logic much like Cameron Diaz does. I mean, it's a little less than the Cameron Diaz and Vanilla Sky reason, but she's that's a baby that's created out of real love. You need to come to me. You don't need to go to her. If you can't make a baby with her, so I'm the one that you really want here and everything.
Well, and he even says, can't you get rid of it? And she's like, I did that once when I was a kid, and I did it once for this guy that dumped me because he pressured me, and I don't feel like I can do that. I just feel like she ends up, the movie kind of makes her very shrill at the end, where she's like she stalks him at work.
Yeah,
It's a Woody Allen thing for sure.
She's screaming at him, but she hasn't done anything wrong in my book. She's not a villain.
She goes from being this glamour. I mean, she's shot in like gauze lighting, like this beautiful, and she has never been more beautiful on camera. I don't know. You could debate that, but she's gorgeous. And then by the end of it, she's just a sniveling mess. And like you said, there's a lot of that shrill, like you're almost rooting for Jonathan Rhys-Meyers' character,
right.
or you're supposed to from the
or
lens.
at least understand his choices.
Yeah.
Which I'm telling you, there's a third movie out there that is 2/3 about adultery and then turns hard into murder, and I'm going to find it.
Oh, you're going to find it.
Crimes and Misdemeanors.
Well, see, I haven't seen
That's
that.
another Woody Allen movie.
That's very. It's almost. It's funny because that's. Technically, it's half of the plot, right? It's the crimes and then the misdemeanors.
Yeah.
First you cry, and then you cry again.
Then you cry again.
Yeah.
Then you get the misdemeanors.
But yeah, no, I'm glad that's on. I'm going to have to seek that out. I
Yeah,
like
it's
that
either
movie a lot.
Showtime or Cinemax, I think.
Here's a movie from right around that time that we've talked about before, but The Cooler.
Okay, yeah.
If you haven't seen The Cooler yet, you should watch The Cooler.
Cooler is awesome.
Yep.
It's a dynamite movie, very self-contained. There's a movie about Vegas and there's a lot going on in this. There's a lot of corporate influence bringing Vegas into the next, step of its career, and there's mob stuff, and then there's all kinds of, tangential things. But essentially, The Cooler is about William H. Macy's character. He's a cooler, and a cooler is somebody that literally walks up to a table that is doing well, or up to a person that's doing well, and makes them not do as well.
Yes.
Okay. I know
By
this
virtue
is
of them just being bad
just
luck.
being there.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, I know this is, I think this is a myth in Vegas and gambling circles and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, the movie is presenting him like he almost has a supernatural power.
Yes.
Like it's not just like, oh, it's an old Vegas trick or throw out the cooler or
and
whatever.
it's not until they saddle him with Maria Bello, like it's supposed to be like this just random thing, and it changes his luck.
Yeah, and so I like the approach the movie takes. That they don't make a big deal out of it. It's just literally accepted as fact that if this guy walks up to you, he's such a sad fucking sack that you're going to start losing money.
Yeah.
And so he's a poor bastard because he had a gambling problem. Alec Baldwin's character takes care of it for him by injuring him, basically. And so he doesn't gamble anymore, but he's making a living by being this cooler. So he's a poor bastard by getting himself into debt, losing all of his stuff, and then being the worst person in a casino.
Yes.
And then it gets even worse. So he meets a girl, the Maria Bello, and they have the sex. They have the nudity sex.
Yeah.
But then it turns out Alec Baldwin's character had set up her to get with him in the first place so that he would stay.
Right.
And then he starts getting luckier and everything, and now he has to separate her from him because he's not doing his cooling thing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
God,
Yeah.
everything bad in the universe happens to this
and let's not forget his son Sean Hannity and his girlfriend, fiance Stella Warren coming in there, and she's pretending to be pregnant and everything.
And so now he's got to get money for them and everything.
Yeah.
Oh God, no, he is. I know William H. Macy can play a loser and a sad sack, but this is like the epitome of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because when he comes up when he comes up for air, when he has that relationship with Maria Bello that starts as a fugazi, but then turns into like an actual relationship, he starts smiling and he starts getting happy, and you're like, oh, it's probably going to be, oh no, this is going to end badly.
Watch that movie and try not to fall in love with Maria Bello.
Yeah.
It's one of those, it's impossible, I think.
It is.
It's impossible.
It's impossible not to fall in love with Ron Livingston, too.
That's true.
Hey,
it's very true.
All right, you got more?
So I'll go on to the lucky bastard. All the protagonists of Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
I haven't seen this movie in forever, so I'm eager to hear this.
I'm gonna read this straight from the paragraph because there's so much that goes on in this, and I'm still skipping over things.
All right.
But so after their buddy Eddie gets taken for all of his and all of his buddies' money, including Jason Statham, early Jason Statham,
All right.
at a poker game, and ended up owing the big gangster guy. at the end. So they have to find money now. Not only have they lost all their money, they owe money. They just happen to be next door to a gang that is plotting to steal from drug dealers not only their money but the weed there. So they have so they hear this. Like some random happenstance occurs where the guy he puts his ear up against the back of the closet, and he can hear the other gang talking about this big heist that they're about to do. So the decision is, once they get back from that heist, they're going to go over to the neighbors while they're gone and steal all the weed and the money. And then because they're the neighbors, they're like the least likely suspects, right? They go in there and they do all the stuff. They actually Eddie and the gang go in there and they beat those guys up and they point guns at them and everything. They steal the weed, they steal the money, and the head guy of the gang's like, "I'll find you." And he's like, "Sure you will." And he's like, "Oh, I'll find you." And because of some stupid thing that happens later where the guy like rams one of his henchmen into the closet, they see all these microphones and stuff set up inside there, and they're like, "Oh, they're the ones who must have done it." So our protagonist, now with weed and money, they decide they want to sell the weed as well. So they sell the weed to this guy named Rory Breaker. Rory Breaker is the main backer of the drug dealers that got stolen from in the first place. So he realizes that these drugs are his and they're being sold back to him. So he gets pissed off at the protagonist, and the gang next door is pissed off at the protagonist, and they both descend on these people's apartment to come get revenge and get their money and their weed back and everything. But the protagonists aren't in there. But like that main gang and Rory Breaker are both in there at the same time. They don't know who each other are, and they blow each other away and kill each other. So there's a whole point where Eddie is like sitting there going through all the things. It's like, okay, so if I understand correctly, all the money in the weed that's accounted for. We don't have that anymore. That gang is completely dead, so they're not after us anymore. The cops don't think we're in on it, so we're in the clear there. And if I have everything correctly, we've done nothing wrong, and we're completely in the clear. And so like, there's a point too. Remember, there's also this thing, this thread involving antique guns in the movie as well. There's a point where they're trying to get one of their guys to try to sell the antique guns, and he's not getting anything for them because nobody knows what they are yet until Vinnie Jones pops up towards the end, and there's this big, huge standoff that happens where they both sort of agree not to kill each other and everything. He gives them a book later on and just says, he says, I'm assuming this is going to be the end of our business or whatever. And he walks off. They open up the book and they find out the antique guns are worth incredible amount of money. You get a ton of money at Sotheby's for it or whatever. And so the movie ends with this did they or didn't they? Because they were going to throw the guns into the river. The guy ends up missing. And then they're trying to call him while he's trying to throw the guns in the river. And they leave it on this whole thing where he's reaching for the guns, and the movie kind of ends there. We don't know if they ever got it, but they could end up, if he gets the guns, they could end up actually profiting all the money that they were going to end up being in the hole for. So, and they leave it up to you to decide. But still, even if they don't get those guns, think about all the stuff that has to happen for them to survive this whole thing. I've skipped over tons of stuff that's in this movie too. There's so many weird, they don't know that this guy knows that this other person knows type of things happening in the movie. So yeah, there you go.
I need to go back to that. Have you seen this fairly recently?
Yes, but only when it came out. I remember Josh and all my roommates and I in 99 or whatever rented that shit from Blockbuster and ate it up. And now Guy Ritchie made the live-action Aladdin movie.
Yeah, man. That early Guy Ritchie stuff, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, Snatch, and he did something else that was in that kind of voice.
Oh, he did Rock and Rolla.
Rock and Rolla, yeah. it's just there was very little that I had seen that was very much like that. That was hyperkinetic and edited. Probably hyper edited, but I dug it. Like, it worked for me.
Funny, man.
Yeah,
I remember
yeah.
Lock, Stock being funny as much as it was anything else.
Yeah.
It's good shit. All right. I got another poor bastard.
Okay.
I'm hopping all over the topics back and forth, bebopping and scatting all over the place. In Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines, which is a movie I'm on record as saying I like more than most. It opens at a animal clinic. But after that, there's a chase where the new Terminator is chasing John Connor and Claire Danes, and the old Terminator is trying to keep up with the new Terminator to save the day. And there's it's like a heavy equipment chase. Do you remember this? Like, well, there's a massive fire truck, and then there's I don't even know what to call the 18-wheeler double wide that's blue and yellow that has like a crane and a fucking hook or a winch and all this shit. And that chase is righteous. But when we're at the animal clinic, it's night. And by the time we get to La Cienega or whatever that fucking LA road that chase happens on is, it's like dawn, right? Like the sun is beginning to rise. And John Connor crashes into this other car. And the guy's all meathead. He gets out and John Connor's car won't start. He's like, hey, you're not going to drive away after that. We just had a collision. Hey. And he's like screaming, and you think, what an asshole, right? And then John starts his truck and takes off, and the new Terminator comes in with that big-ass fucking building vehicle and just stomps all over this guy's car. And every time I see it, I'm like, man, he very clearly got up early on purpose to avoid traffic so that he'd be on the road at 4:30 in the morning, right as the sun's coming up. And he has 2 accidents, neither of them his fault. And now this fucker's got to find a way to work.
Yeah.
I just feel like he is the most shat upon guy in the entire Terminator universe, even more than the step-parents in T2, because they were at least assholes.
Yeah, they were dicks.
This guy,
I think Sarah's roommate got dicked over in the original one.
That's
man.
true.
Yeah.
I mean, there are plenty of poor bastards in the Terminator franchise.
I like what you're saying. The dude got up early to go to work.
I've been in L.A. Those roads aren't empty except at 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, so that was a poor bastard.
That was a poor bastard. You can go back to Lucky if you want.
I'll alternate because I'll do a lucky bastard. And I just watched this fairly recently. Burn After Reading.
Yeah.
Burn After Reading. That's another one. If you haven't seen it recently, or if you haven't seen it at all, this is A+ recommendation. It's zany. It's labyrinthine.
Labyrinthian?
Labyrinthian. Is that right too?
I think that's actually a word.
But it's silly, but it's also really amazing. The amount of star power is ridiculous. Brad Pitt, George Clooney, Frances McDormand, Richard Jenkins, Malkovich. And J.K. Simmons plays the CIA director, right? And so all these, there's a lot of involvement from the CIA. John Malkovich's character is an ex-CIA operative that leaves, and he's writing his memoirs and stuff like that. And he starts the whole thing off. And so the CIA wants to make sure that their shit doesn't get into the wrong hands. And it never does. Like, it's never really out of their control, except for the people, because there's a sudden murder. There's a sudden exposure. There's actually a second sudden murder that happens, and so all this crazy stuff happens. And I'll try not to spoil it for you. All this crazy stuff happens with all of these characters, but then at the end, it's J.K. Simmons as the CIA assistant director or whatever, and his underling reporting everything to him, and basically what happened to all these characters. And he's like, well, one of them got shot, and one of them was attacked by a hatchet, and he's dead. And one of them got shot by one of our guys in the area. And J.K. Simmons is like, oh, is he dead? He's like, no, he's in a coma. And he's like, God damn it. And he's like, well, they think he's going to stay in a coma forever. And he's like, well, I guess we'll deal with it when we deal with it. And one character goes to Venezuela, and he's like, oh, that's cool. Venezuela is non-extradition. Send him to Venezuela. That's fantastic. And basically, everything has been taken care of. They have to pay off one person. He's like, pay it. It's fine. And so then he closes the book, and he's like, well, I guess we've learned something. You know, don't do that again. And then he looks up, he's like, well, I don't really know what we did. And he's like, yes, sir. And that's it.
Yeah.
The guy doesn't have to do fucking anything. This
Yeah.
is a total clusterfuck of a situation
Yeah.
involving like dozens of people. But he's just like, well, tell me what happened. Well, do we need to do anything? No. Oh, we're good. This? Yeah, all right. Take care of that. All right. It's the greatest ending. It's so fucking great. And of course, J.K. Simmons plays it off perfectly because he's looking inquisitive and he's worried about something. And he's like, oh, all right, I guess we're all good.
So is this who's the poor bastard?
No, this is the lucky
Who's
bastard.
the lucky bastard?
J.K. Simmons is the lucky bastard.
Oh, because he doesn't have to do anything.
Nothing at all. He's got this massive, just disaster of a situation that is self-contained. It's like nuking a tornado.
Yeah, I
Don't
don't
say
know.
that. It's like dissolving something by taking the oxygen out. It's the oxygen bomb from Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
Yeah,
That just dissolves everything internally.
Yeah.
So great. I love that movie. I wish the fuck I knew what we did.
Do you have any more?
I have several.
Awesome.
I got a bunch too.
Michael K. Williams in The Road. I think I may have even brought this up before. I don't know if we brought it up in this particular format, but Michael K. Williams is playing a thief, and he gets caught stealing Vigo and his kids' stuff, and Vigo's got a gun, and he ends up telling that guy, I want you to strip down naked out in the cold. And that's his punishment. And the performance Michael K. Williams puts in on this, it's devastating. Yeah, it is. I know he's a thief. I know he tried to do this, but this is a punishment that is way more than the crime is.
It is. It's a punishment, and everybody's in hyper survivalist mode, right? So like anytime, it is a punishment, but he also is trying to get that clothing and the shoes and everything. The shoes is the worst part, man.
Yeah.
Where he's like, don't take my shoes, and
yeah, and he's just standing there naked, and he's just like freezing, and just like looking at him like, can you show any compassion at all? And apparently not.
Yeah.
And that's how they leave him.
Oh. Have you watched that movie more than once?
No.
Enthusiastically, he replied.
Dude, I read the
"No."
book, then watched the movie, and I was like, I am closing the chapter of that.
Is it in the book? That
Oh yeah. And
this is a Cormac
very
McCarthy, right?
It's very faithful to the book. I think in both. The Vigo character is not. I think he's named Man.
Okay.
And the son is Boy. And I read it because I love post-apocalyptic stuff. But this is a different sort of story. Have you seen the movie?
Yeah, but once, and I don't remember it very much.
Well, I mean, it really is about the day-to-day struggle of a post-apocalyptic thing. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. There's no justification for what happened. Matter of fact, I don't think we ever know what happened.
Yeah.
But then at the end, Vigo finds the mailman costume and puts it on and starts delivering mail.
Yes.
From the shanty towns.
He does.
Shanty towns.
I don't know how this movie got greenlit, because this is like it's Bleak the movie.
It's Bleakness the movie. Yeah.
Vigo does give reasoning, and that reasoning feels sound in the world that they live in.
Yeah.
It's just too much for this person to watch, especially watching Michael K. Williams' performance during that thing. It will rock you when you see that part.
Yeah. That's a good one. That's a poor bastard right there.
Yeah.
There's a poor bastard.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to do another twofer.
Do it.
And we're going to the world of That Thing You Do, a movie I've probably seen 60 times.
Really? That much?
Now, here's a band like thousands, tens of thousands of other bands.
The Oneaters.
Yes, they are the Wonders, spelled O-N-E. They practice in somebody's garage. They're nobody. They're going to a talent show, and their drummer breaks his arms because he's an idiot. Pretty sure it's Giovanni Ribisi.
Yeah.
How does he break his arms?
Jumping over a concrete. It's some stupid, like the way I would break my arms, like jumping over something in the parking lot. So what does the band do? We've got this show already booked. We're a band that doesn't have shows. We need a substitute drummer. So they go get Tom Everett Scott. They play this talent show, but at the talent show, Tom Everett Scott speeds the song up. He takes it from a ballad to a pop song.
Mm-hmm.
They get heard there by the Villapiano's pizza guy, who books them to play at the pizza place on weekends. They get heard there the next week by the guy who lives in a trailer, whose bird dogging days are done. He signs them. What feels like 8 hours later, introduces them to Tom Hanks' character, who works at the big record label, and then boom, this band is off and running. They have a top 10 hit. They're in the State Fair circle. They're making major motion pictures. They go on the Hollywood Television Showcase. And all the way back in Podunk, Pennsylvania, is the actual drummer of that band sitting on the couch watching this success with Tom Everett Scott's parrots.
Nice.
Yep.
And that is a poor bastard, because he's the drummer.
Yeah.
He breaks his arms, and everything good that happens to that band happens afterwards.
Yeah.
And by virtue of that, Tom Everett Scott's character is a lucky bastard.
Yes, he is.
Because what was just a fill-in gig, a temporary gig, he's a salesman. He sells ranges and ovens at his dad's appliance store. He's out of high school. He's like 24. He takes this gig, and boom, next thing you know, he's jamming in the studio with Del Paxton.
How old are they supposed to be?
I think they're all supposed to be college age or out of high school. But, that's always bothered me, that band, granted, they come right back to earth later that summer.
Yeah.
Their time in the spotlight is short, but the actual drummer of that band didn't get to experience any of that shit.
That's hilarious.
He got completely shafted.
Oh, my God.
All because he's not as
bastard.
handsome as Tom Everett Scott.
Yeah. Who is, though, back in that day?
No. Yeah,
Not very
he's
many people.
Jonathan
piece
Sketch.
of wool.
Oh, yeah, Jonathan Sketch.
Sketch.
Who was that?
I quit.
The lead singer.
I quit.
Oh, yeah.
I quit.
I quit, Mr. White.
Is that the one Liv Tyler's boning?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're dating. Who knows if they're boning? It was
Yeah.
the 60s.
Doesn't seem like they're boning all that much.
No.
Nobody was boning in the 60s.
No.
No, they were just holding hands.
No. There's a...
Diane Dane. I had like my whole first boy-girl thing with you.
This is a whole play. It's a Playboy bunny.
I could quote that movie all day long.
Wow.
This is like, there's a girl in there who's drinking alone. Back where I come from, that just ain't right.
All right, I got a weird poor bastard. It's a poor bitch. It's
You're on a roll today, Barrett.
It's
all of that misogyny is coming out.
I wanted to. It's like a wizard is a or the witch female. The male witch is a warlock.
Mm-hmm.
So a female bastard.
Female bastard. Sofia Vergara in Chef.
Okay.
This woman bends over backwards for Jon Favreau's character, El Jefe. So she was obviously married to him before. She supported him during his early days of chefdom because apparently he's so brilliant. He's so brilliant. It's not like he has much of a personality, though. It seems like he can only function in a kitchen environment, right? And function in the kitchen environment he does very, very well, which the movie goes to great lengths to say. But then they finally get a divorce. They've got a kid. He doesn't spend any time with him. So Sofia Vergara's character takes care of the kid. She stays in touch just like unconditionally with this guy and like supports him and says, oh, you need to get back with your kid and all that stuff. And he's having an affair with ScarJo and all that stuff.
They're always having an affair with ScarJo in these movies.
And, he's dedicated to the kitchen and stuff like that. She's completely understanding, right? He gets canned. And so what does she do instead of either kicking him while he's down or just basically saying that's karma? No, come to Miami with us and hang out on my dime and take care of the kid and stuff like that. Then she facilitates her ex, Robert Downey, getting him a fucking food truck. Then, she basically says, well, I'll give permission for the kid to go with you if he wants to, if you want to. Totally understanding all this shit. All she gets in return is him getting pissed off that she may have had sex with Robert Downey Jr. after him. That's as much as he does. Now, at the end, they fucking reconcile, and she's dancing and everything worked out. What did he do to earn back her
She's
affection
like
besides say that he loves her accidentally.
She's
one
like
time.
the manic pixie ex-wife.
She is, man. She bends. She does everything for this dude, even though she's a wild success. I don't even know what she does. I think it's intimated that she's an actress or something.
Oh, she's
like that.
definitely an actress.
But I mean, and I know there are people involved in toxic relationships and stuff like that to where they can't really escape all that. But talk about being subtly shit on for an entire movie. Like, he does nothing to earn her love, affection, and support from beginning until end. And the fact that they get the most offensive part about this movie, which is a breezy movie and I love, but the most offensive part is that they get back together at the end as like husband and wife. They get remarried. Why? Because he's got a brick and mortar restaurant. With
I enjoy the shit out of this movie, but even everything about this ending is offensive to me from like a writing standpoint, because it's like the neatest bow ever. Oh, the critic he had a fight with tasted his Cuban, and now he's going to finance his restaurant, and yeehaw, everything's back to the brutality. All because I took a road trip with my kid and I made some pork.
Yep.
I really don't feel like there's a lot of character growth there.
Nope.
I feel like it's just he was angry, he stopped being angry, and everything went his way.
He wasn't even angry until, the Dustin Hoffman character like pushed his buttons, essentially. Before that, he was happy as like pig shit. Like he was happy as a pig and shit. He's going to the fucking like farmer's market and getting all the good stuff. And
he's experimenting in the kitchen and cooking.
He's doing the exact same thing at the end of this movie as he was at the beginning of this movie.
Right.
Just has different financial backing. And you're right. I love this fucking movie.
Yeah,
but it's just total food porn, and that's it.
Yeah.
And did you see
okay.
there's a second season of the Chef Show?
I saw it got picked up. Yeah.
No, I still want the Cuban sandwich that they make in that thing.
I do too.
I feel like there's a hunger that still hasn't been sated. Like I've eaten many times since watching that movie, but there's still something in the base of my, wherever the hunger comes from, that's like, you still haven't had that Cuban sandwich, and therefore you have not been sated.
What's beautiful about the Cuban sandwich is that it's perfect for that food truck concept, because when you get food truck stuff, at least when I do, it can be the highest rated food truck in the world. I'm still probably getting cold, stale tater tots topped with whatever kimchi or whatever it is that you're putting on it. Because just by necessity of having to get that much food out, it's not going to be the quality that you think it is. But a Cuban sandwich, the way that he explains it in that movie, you can make it the exact same way every time. You can make it to where it's not burned, to where it's perfectly crispy, and it's all self-contained. All the stuff that makes it delicious is on the front end, all the prep stuff. So, yeah. There's a lot to like about that movie.
Yeah.
But it ain't Sofia Vergara, poor bastard.
Yeah. I have another lucky bastard. And do we want to do recommends and warns after this, or do we want to just deplete all of our lucky bastard?
Let's go. I'd like to get into some recommends and warns.
Yeah, let's go one more round and then we'll go into...
Okay. So I have a lucky bastard. I'm going to say Reese Witherspoon in Election.
Lucky bastard.
Lucky bastard.
Interesting.
Think about all the things that she survives to become class president in this movie. First off, she has 2 what would be recognized as scandals in the school.
That's true.
One is the affair with a teacher. Now, she's the victim in that situation, but if anybody found out about it, she would not be elected class president.
Agreed.
Right. The other part is that she tore down all the Paul Metzler's posters.
That's true, yeah.
And if it's not, and she has there's a witness to it, but it happens to be the best witness, and that is Tammy Metzler, who really doesn't want to be class president and doesn't care if she gets in trouble for it or not. And she tells McAllister, I'm the one who tore down the posters, because she's angling to get into that Catholic girls' school.
Why does she take? What is the straw that breaks the camel's back on the? Is she just upset so much and sees all those posters that she snaps?
Yeah,
hers is coming down and she's trying to get it back up and it keeps falling down and she gets on that trash.
And from what I understand too, it took forever to get that to do just the right thing.
The sign itself?
Yeah, like she would paste it up, and that shot, it's supposed to go all in one shot. She gets it up and then she walks away and then it comes down. So they had to do that a bunch.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it keeps coming down, and then finally it comes down and to the point where she tries to fix it and she tears it accidentally.
Oh yeah.
And then so that music starts playing and and she sees Paul Metzler with the football and everything, and she just tears down all of his posters. And then so there's two scandals right there that should ensure that she's not president. So then after that, think about this. Paul, if he votes for himself, there's no controversy. Right. He ends up being the president. There's no controversy. The other part of this is when McAllister does crumble up the two votes that make it where she was the winner and make Paul the winner, and he throws them in that trash can. It just so happens to be the most nosiest janitor in the world is going through McAllister's trash to find those two votes that have been crumpled up.
That's true, yeah.
And think about also the reason why he's apparently getting back at him too is because he's in the refrigerator throwing all this stuff out and he misses with his Chinese food and it just falls on the ground and the janitor looks at it like, oh, I'm going to have to clean that up later. I don't think the movie ever shows like McAllister just like ignoring it or whatever. He was throwing stuff in a trash bag. Yeah. He thought it was in the trash. Like, did he really look down at the floor and see that and just go, janitor's going to get that? The movie never really says. However, he has made enemies with the janitor, and the janitor is the one who finds the votes. Yeah. And if he's not that dedicated to his job, she's still not the president. So, does McAllister's life crumble as much as it does? Because he's still going to get found out about the affair. Yeah. Right? But like, he doesn't get fired. He doesn't get fired. Yeah. Seriously, he's a bad guy, so I would hate to call him a poor bastard. Yeah. But like, yeah, his life crumbles because of that whole thing.
All he had to do was put that crumpled up vote paper in his goddamn pocket.
Yeah, his pocket.
Instead of the trash. Yeah. That drives me nuts because, I mean, granted, that's probably exactly what he would have done is toss it in the trash.
Well, like, because who's going to look? Yeah. And like the janitor, I sit there and I think about that janitor looking down in the trash going, what are these crumpled pieces of paper? Oh, they're votes? Yeah. Weird.
Yeah. He's plugged into the electoral process of the student body.
Not to mention the odds that election would come down to like one vote.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the case. I guess it's different school to school. Every school I ever went to, that jock would have beat the shit out of the overachieving girl every time. But I bet there are schools where the overachieving girl would win just because of name recognition, or everybody says, she's smart, I'll vote for her.
I think mine would have gone to the jock, too.
Also, let's not forget that Tammy, if she had stayed in the race, would have gotten more votes than both of them, I think.
Yeah. Because she's like, who cares about this stupid election?
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And they had to disregard all of those votes, so she would have actually won. But she had another angle going on. Yeah. She didn't care about any of that stuff. She wanted to get with Jennifer at the Catholic girls' school.
And she does.
Yeah, she does. She does. Jennifer, Juniper.
There's a guy who's a poor bastard there are several in the Bourne series, but the one that I always laugh at the most is the kid in the beginning of Bourne Supremacy in Italy, because this is where Bourne has found out, well, his girlfriend's been shot, so he knows that they're coming after him again, so he lets his passport get scanned on purpose. And while he sits there silently looking at the wall, this guy's trying to question him, but you can tell this guy's like a 25-year-old fresh out of like the academy, and it's probably an exciting day in his Italian post to even have someone to question, but he's not expecting this guy to be Batman. And what Bourne's trying to do is wait for, he doesn't know it's Pamela Landy, but wait for a CIA boss to call this guy. Then he beats that guy's ass, clones the phone so he can basically get information on those who are chasing. But this guy gets the shit beat out of him.
Yeah.
All because he happened to be working that day. Like, he doesn't have any clue. He even says, like, he even says to her, she's like, is the place locked down? He's like, oh, it's Italy. We don't really do that kind of thing around here. and Bourne it takes about 1.2 seconds, and Bourne just destroys that guy.
Yeah.
And it's not his fault.
He's going to be walking with a limp the rest of his life because he showed up.
He's not a part of that Blackstone shit. He's
just a guy.
Yeah.
He's a means to an end. And yet you understand why Bourne has to take him out. I just feel really bad for that guy. Bourne beats up a lot of people who probably don't deserve it, but a lot of them are cops or active field agents, and this guy is just like, hi, my name is Bob. I'm supposed to detain you because you flagged on our passport computer. Can I get you a coffee?
Oh, my God. So, a lucky bastard. Winston Duke's character in Us. And I thought this at the time, and I finally rewatched that movie. Movie's fucking awesome. He's useless. He's completely useless in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when we figure out for reasons that Lupita Nyong'o's character is really the badass, and even the kids are badass in this. But Winston Duke does effectively nothing in this movie. He's all like threatening and everything. And of course, I'm sure this is by design from Jordan Peele saying like, we're going to take, the macho dude, patriarch out of the way. But when he does get a chance to do something, he gets his ass beaten by his doppelganger, who is ostensibly stronger than him, who is, crazier than him. And, he beats the shit out of him all the way. In fact, he beats the shit out of him at the house. And so he should be dead, right? And for some reason, because he saw the boat and like he's got this attraction in the boat, he brings Winston Duke's character down to the boat to bring him on there for no reason really at all in the little trash bag. And so somehow, just by lucky happenstances, Winston Duke actually like overwhelms this character. Then he overwhelms him again, and then he kills him. And it just doesn't make sense. He should be fucking dead, my friend.
Yeah.
He should be dead like 4 or 5 times in that sequence alone, and yet he somehow survives. And he's completely useless. He should be dead early in the movie a bunch of times.
Yeah.
So he's a lucky bastard, relative in this universe.
Yeah.
We're ending on a positive note.
Yeah.
He didn't die, at least for that period of time.
Yes. Hey, guys, it's time to talk about Mubi again.
Yes!
And Barrett has been infused with some sort of...
I was going to say, like we always do, where we go, Mubi, but Barrett has a demon. And now the power of Christ compels you, Barrett. What happened?
Oh, no, I'm very excited.
Anyway, it's time to talk about Mubi. And we are, yet again, there's a lot of selections on here that, where do you start, right? Well, I watched a movie called My Name is Joe.
Ken Loach,
Ken Loach, and it stars Peter Mullen, who you might remember as Sid in Children of Men.
Yes,
and he's also in Braveheart briefly when William Wallace does his speech, and he's like, "No, we will go back and we will live," and all that. Yeah. He's the guy in the crowd that says that. But anyway, he's the lead in this. And it's about a guy who is he's a recovering alcoholic. He's been in AA for 10 months. He's been clean for 10 months. And he meets this woman, and this woman who is like a health visitor. I don't know if that's a thing in the UK. I don't know if we have a health visitor here in the States.
I don't know.
But she's someone who goes to people's houses and like tells them basic stuff about taking care of their children and stuff like that.
It's like a social worker, I guess.
Yeah,
kind of parallel.
Yeah, so she works at a small like ENT kind of doctor's office, but so he's sort of rough around the edges, and she's, very, straight up, like, normal type person or whatever. But they through some various things, they fall in love, and it's basically, how can he continue? Can he do what he wants to do, or live his life, that has a lot of like, things on the fringes out there. Like he knows gangsters, and he knows people who associate with gangsters, and at one point there's a point where he has to make a decision whether or not he is going to go back into that life, and risk this new relationship that he has. And he's rough around the edges enough. She's so patient and everything that you're like, oh well, he can probably get away with anything. But there are limits. There are limits. I really enjoyed the movie because it was you don't see adult relationship dramas like this very often.
Yeah.
Where everything is, people are making mature decisions, or if they're making immature decisions, it's something that could actually really affect their life. Like you see like younger stuff, it doesn't really affect much. This is a guy who's like, up in age, late 30s or whatever. This is something that could really like be a tipping point for him if he doesn't do this right and everything. But I really, really enjoyed it. It's very simple, but it doesn't ever get like super like a melodramatic or anything like that. It's really good.
You're right. You don't see movies like that ever.
No.
And maybe it happens more like on the European side, and we're just not really accessing them.
Yeah, there's just I don't think there's a market for this type of movie out here except for art house type of stuff.
Yeah.
So
all the more reason to get Mubi.
Yeah.
Because even though we are cinephiles, this is not something that we would necessarily seek out, right? Like we've heard of Ken Loach. I don't know what his most famous work is, but he's a recognizable name. Another recognizable name is Asia Argento, mostly because, unfortunately for her, fortunately for her paycheck, is Triple X. The first Triple X with Vinny Diesel. She was the girlfriend of the mob boss in that movie.
Okay.
She's of course the daughter of Dario Argento, the famous giallo horror director in Italy. And in 2000, she said, "Fuck y'all, I'm going to start directing." Instead, she's beautiful, she's gorgeous, she's got this wonderful acting career. She wants to go into directing, so she directed a movie, semi-autobiographical movie called Scarlet Diva. And it is like unflinching at her life. Like she got into drugs, she got into sex, she got into all kinds of crazy stuff throughout her whole life. And she's very honest about it. Now, this is an Italian joint, like fairly indie, quote unquote indie. And so the production values are But the content is amazing. She is terrific in this. She's playing essentially a version of herself. The shots that she pulls off are incredible. There's a lot of casual fucking in this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody is fucking everybody. There's one scene, there's a couple scenes where she's just like walking by and her friend is fucking her boyfriend, and she's just like, okay, I gotta go. And I was thinking to myself, I don't think that's ever happened to me. Where I've just kind of like walked by a couple of people casually fucking.
You were okay with your friend fucking your girlfriend?
Well, like mid-fuck, like they're just out there in the kitchen, and you're just like, all right, well, I got to go pick up the car from the oil change place. But this happens in this movie. Okay, so a lot of casual fucking, very empowering. Like she is in control of herself. Now, whatever decisions he makes, maybe not good. This movie also has a very serious scene, which I don't even know if it played serious at the time. But it recreates a time where a very wealthy American producer goes to a hotel room and invites her up. He's in his robe, and he's played cartoonishly. And he says, basically, I'm really tired because I just got off of my private jet. Why don't you give me a massage? And she's like, that's not what I do. I don't give a massage. She's like, yeah, it's fine. And he takes the robe off completely naked. And then tries to rape her.
I think we all know who this is.
Yes. Well, this is a story that Asia Argento apparently had been telling for years. And apparently, and not to bring the party so far down, but she got away in the movie. She did not in real life. So it's interesting how this is depicted. He is absolutely a cartoonish image. He's a buffoon.
Yeah.
But it's still, certainly now, with the knowledge that we have, it is really, really uncomfortable to watch.
When did this film come out?
2000.
Wow.
Yeah.
So like 17 years before he even really had to face any music.
Before anybody believed anybody.
That's true. That
was the problem.
Yeah. So she's putting this shit out there way back then, and there's no mistaking it, even pre-2017, if you've heard any type of rumors or whatever. So it's very arresting. Like once you know how you watch those movies, like, I don't know, Pi is an example where like it doesn't have the production budget. but like after it takes you just a little bit to get into it, and then you're off and running.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing here. This is just really, really interesting direction, amazing acting, and I would totally recommend Scarlet Diva, Asia Argento, talented filmmaker, actress, like everything. She's really on top of things.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, what is the bonus that our listeners can get if
you wanted to watch the casual fucking in Scarlet Diva, watch the whole movie, but stay for the casual fucking.
Right.
You can get Mubi right now, mubi.com/cinemasins, 30 days free, mubi.com/cinemasins. This is a curated, in case it's not clear from what we're saying, this is a curated service that basically exposes you to new cinema that you wouldn't normally necessarily seek out. Well-known directors, maybe their lesser-known stuff, like just classic gems. There's a mix of everything. You can get 30 days of it for free going to mubi.com/cinemasins. We absolutely love this service. That's why we've been talking about it so much. If you haven't already, sign up right now. 30 days free.
We're going to go on over to some recommends and warns.
Woohoo!
Totes Amazeballs.
They're great.
It won the Academy Award.
Oh, for what?
For best movie ever made.
I'm going to warn a movie that probably very few people had on their radar.
Okay.
Isn't It Romantic?
Ooh.
Rebel Wilson movie that came out earlier this year.
The PG-13 romantic comedy
Yes.
thing?
where she's the first plus-sized comedian to star in a comedy.
Yeah, that's correct. It's hard not to remember that as you watch this, because it's so historic. When the movie is she hits her head like everybody in these comedies do, hits her head, and then she's suddenly transported into what is an average romantic comedy, right? And so this is the movie's vehicle by which they are saying, these romantic comedies, they sure are dumb, aren't they? But it's a hyper realized version of a romantic comedy. There's hardly anything that feels recognizable to an average romantic comedy in this. Yeah, it's funny. New York cleans up real good in a romantic comedy. It doesn't smell bad anymore. That type of thing. Those are the type of things that it makes sense to make fun of. But like going over the Brooklyn Bridge and like a whole bunch of doves are in a heart shape going across that doesn't really happen. The Liam Hemsworth character basically speaks all in platitudes and quotes and everything.
Is he the main love interest in this?
Yeah, no, Adam Devine is actually.
Oh, okay.
He's if there's anything that this movie gets quote unquote right, it's the guy or girl that is not seen as the real romantic interest in the movie is really the romantic interest.
I see.
So like before she gets her head hit, it's obvious that Adam Devine really, really into her and everything. She thinks that he likes models and stuff. So like there's a banner outside of a model and she keeps seeing him look at the banner and everything. It actually leads to a pretty decent scene at the end. It's maybe the only thing good about this movie. There's a good scene at the end. But like everything about this just doesn't feel right. Like you've been transported into a PG-13 romantic comedy, but you haven't really. There's nothing familiar to it. Obviously, it's just not funny is what it comes down to, right? Yeah. Everything that they're supposed to be funny in this isn't really. And so like that's the reason why it just ends up not being good. But I feel like just the idea of it, like making all the characters, like of course she's got a gay best friend character in this, and they make point to say that he sets back gay rights 400 years and all that. I mean I understand romantic comedies have that friend, but not to that point. Not to this like outrageous point where it's like we're really making fun of this, we're really skewering this, and you're not really. You're just giving yourself an excuse to do that character.
I wonder who's what this movie's audience is. I mean,
I think it's women who think romantic comedies are stupid or know or realize that there are there are stupidity. There are things that they overlook in romantic comedy. But this type of stuff in this, like I said, there's just nothing familiar.
Yeah.
Like, everything they seem to skewer in this is like, I don't really know this as so one of the big things in it is Liam Hemsworth is super rich, and it doesn't make sense that he's in love with Rebel Wilson at all. And meanwhile, Adam Devine's character falls in love with Priyanka Chopra. And she's super rich, and it really would make more sense for Liam Hemsworth and Priyanka Chopra to be together because they have the exact same thing. But there's a whole thing where they're like, he and her, Liam Hemsworth and Priyanka Chopra, have this like big they're like trying to like outdo each other on their wealth and everything. Like I was going to invite you guys on my helicopter to the party in the Hamptons tomorrow, but I guess since you already have a helicopter and all this, it's that type of thing. Like, what in romantic comedies has there ever been a situation where like this whole like wealth disparity thing happened? I mean, I don't know. It's just it's one of those things where I was like, okay, I'm in the mood for some sort of comedy. Yeah. This movie looked mildly interesting back in the day. I'm going to pop it in. I'm going to give it a chance. And I didn't like it.
You watched it so that we don't have to.
I did.
You own it?
I took one for the team. Of course I own it.
It's open. It's one of the 30% of movies that are actually open.
I don't go to exactly. I don't go to Best Buy and just buy the stuff we need. That's stupid. I buy everything. So,
oh boy,
I've got some movies on the collection that are just like, why? Why'd you buy that?
6 days, 7 nights.
Because I can. I don't have that.
Oh, I like that. I was working at the 27 when that came out.
Yeah, that movie's no good.
No,
that movie's no good.
No, that was a movie that ended Harrison Ford's like streak. He had a big streak going.
He did?
And that was supposed to be like, people were like, I don't know, this doesn't look like it's going to keep the streak going of hits, and it sure didn't.
Yeah, the whole thing was miscast and miswritten and everything.
Yeah. I am going to recommend a movie that I almost recommended.
Okay.
And that's Ad Astra.
Oh, okay.
Now, I have mixed feelings about this movie, but I think there is so much good in it that's why it ended up being a recommend.
All right.
I tweeted out that this is 2 movies wrestling for dominance. One is an action space, almost caper. And the other is a melancholy examination of identity and purpose and father-son stuff. So you have sort of I think I joked to somebody that it's like Apocalypse Now, but it wants to also have Full Metal Jacket's action scenes interspersed in between. And I don't feel like it works. I know at least one person I've talked with publicly on Twitter thinks it works. Person is an optimist. The stuff that works, the first hour, really, I almost leaned over to Chris when they are on the moon trying to get to the dark side in a hurry because it's easier to not be killed by moon pirates on the dark side of the moon. I almost turned to Chris and said, I'm fucking loving this because it hadn't done so much of the narration, pondery, what is life, what is the meaning of blah, blah, blah. But after that, pretty much after he gets to Mars and you have surprise Russian doll.
Oh, you have Natasha Lyonne show up for no reason. And then
it's a funny ass story because she's in this movie because she invited herself over to the director's house for dinner. She was passing him in a hallway and said, I smell your food every weekend. I want to know what it tastes like. He invites her over. They're talking about what he's working on. She ends up with a cameo role in this movie on Mars. She's like the intake receptionist at Mars. But then we sort of lose all of the action-y, fun, capery stuff, and it really becomes this psychological... I feel like if the narration were written better, it might have been a home run, but a lot of the narration is just, it's like greeting card bad. It's like,
really?
I'm finally free of my father. Or am I my father now?
Yeah.
And it's just the kind of stuff where, like, this was deep on paper, but once you actually had somebody say it out loud, it's like that. I already want to recut this movie a la Passengers and kill every bit of narration and just let him be on screen silent and see if that doesn't convey the same shit, because I bet it does. But there's so much cool stuff. It opens with this space antenna where you think he's on a space station, but you find out it's just this antenna that stretches from Earth all the way up to space. And then there's an explosion and he falls.
Isn't it part of the International Space Station, though? Like that antenna?
That was not, well, maybe. That was not the vibe I got.
Okay.
The vibe I got was that it at least connected to the ground below.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was just some extra stuff they've added to the station, but I didn't know for sure.
I think it's different because even almost all the way down to the ground, you can see that metal structure. Anyway, he falls. It's very riveting, grabbing, awesome. Then he has to go to the moon, and there's apparently the moon is full of pirates and has Hudson News stores at the lunar airport. But I felt like the action chase scene on the rovers was cool, and they're trying to get to the dark side of the moon, and he ends up jumping over this crater thing, and the car's spinning, and I was digging it, man. There was a lot of cool shit that may not have been original ideas, but like tweaked how it was presented on screen. And then there's plenty of great space porn, Interstellar-like, 2001-like, where he's floating past Saturn or whatever. There's some good shit in here, man. I just didn't really all add up for me. And then in the second half, we get the horror monkeys, which I think was just an attempt to, we were an action movie at one point. We better throw an action scene in here. And I think Brad Pitt's fantastic in the movie.
Did you like the philosophical, ponderous part from a conceptual perspective?
Yes. In fact, what I think I said in my tweet is if they'd veered hard either direction, I think it would have been a home run for me. If it had been all psychological, ponderous examination and space porn, it would have felt like 2001. I think I could have eaten that up. If it had been all action, passengery, space trinket, gee whiz, I think I would have eaten that. But it's trying to be both. I guarantee you, they cut a lot out of this movie.
Yeah, I was surprised it was right at 2 hours.
Yeah,
it seemed like a movie that was going to be a 2.5 to 3 hour movie.
Yeah.
Well, and it feels like 4 hours long when you're watching it, and yet I still feel like it should be longer. I feel like they cut too much. But anyway, I would give it a B+ probably. I really had fun watching it, but it's got some flaws, and I just want you to know those going in.
I will still see it.
There should be a mini pod of this before this podcast comes out, where Jonathan and I talk about this. Now, we didn't talk about how badly written the narration was, but it is completely unnecessary in so many spots. It's one of those type of things where, like, the question that you are asking as a viewer, he asks in like detail on the screen, and you're like, yeah, I can understand that you might be like that because I'm like that.
Well, there's even
no
that
reason.
scene where one of the astronauts is clearly inexperienced and scared. He's like sweating and looking at the controls, and it cuts to Brad Pitt, and you hear him narrate, he's scared.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, well, no fucking shit, dude.
Right.
I know that, and I know you know that.
It's constantly telling us stuff we already know. It's not like Wolf of Wall Street type narration where there's some like added kind of, and Goodfellas, where it's like there's an added content to the narration, or Informant. It's more about just telling you exactly what you already know, and it's some of it also like it feels like the Thin Red Line, but then the Thin Red Line has its purpose too and its narration, but this doesn't. It just has it's basically just sort of like, well, this is going to be nothing but Brad Pitt staring off into space so many times. We need to have something that fills the void. And don't really.
Yeah, it sounds almost like a Blade Runner situation. I wonder if eventually there'll be a director's cut like what you're saying, where they cut the narration.
Well, and again, this was pushed back twice, maybe because of the Fox acquisition at Disney. Who's to say? It does feel like a movie that they were trying to find in editing. And that may be why they pushed it back a couple times, because they didn't quite have it where they wanted it. I think there's probably 2 good hours of footage I would pick and choose from to make this a perfect movie. And yeah, I would kill 95% of all the narration.
The Space Monkey thing is probably the worst like addition or thing they kept in. Not because it wouldn't have been awesome in another movie, which is something that you've touched on, but just the fact that they have gotten on this, it just seems like just a total sidetrack for the movie. Just like something, let's just add this in. And all the reasonings that they have, like the captain says we have to go after the distress signal. That's the law. We have to do that. And Brad Pitt, who's on the secret mission, is like, well, no, that's not part of the mission. We can't do that. I have a time crunch and everything. And then the guy's like, well, if you tell us what your mission is, we can not.
He says, this is crazy. He says, you outrank us. If you want to take control of the craft, you can, but then you have to tell us what your mission is, which is fucked up and weird. But then later on, he takes control of the craft anyway to land that shit and doesn't have to tell anybody what his mission is.
Yep.
So it was tacked on like, well, we gotta kill the captain and get him on. We gotta kill 15 minutes and kill the captain. Space monkeys. Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. Evil. Face-biting space monkeys.
Since this comes out after the mini pod, did you like the movie?
We both gave it a B-.
Okay.
There, like Jeremy said, there's enough in it that's good that make you interested in watching it. It definitely doesn't get into that C territory, but like if it could have, like it's funny. The beginning of this movie is what I feel like Artemis is going to be. Like if that movie ever gets made, because Artemis talks about the commercialization of space travel and the moon and all that. All of that stuff seems like what Artemis is going to be. So like if they had made that movie, they would have been essentially making Artemis.
Yeah, and maybe that's what they were trying to avoid.
Yeah,
I liked that. I liked all the like consumer space travel is it's not a movie. It's not an idea Ad Astra came up with. Mm-hmm. But I liked the scene. Like he says, "Can I have a pillow and blanket pack?" And she's like, "Sure, it'll be $398." I liked all those little touches. Even seeing the Hudson newsstand on the lunar
and an
airport.
Applebee's
and an Applebee's.
Oh, that's funny. Oh my God! All right, good to know.
Yeah, so there you go.
I've got one that you can see right now if you wanted to, if you have Netflix, I guess. The Between Two Ferns movie.
Okay.
Are either of you guys? Well, I know you're familiar, but like, do you like the series, the web series?
No. I like what I've seen Galifianakis do on stand-up.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's been funny in movies.
Mm-hmm.
I read a couple things recently that make it sound like he's an awesome dude in real life. But the awkward cringe for the sake of it of this series has always been ratcheted up to 11, and I don't find that funny.
Yeah.
That's maybe part of why I've heard a lot of people say they don't enjoy The Office, which I've never watched, because it is cringe humor. Mm-hmm. I'm not a big fan of that cringe humor. I think The Office is probably not anywhere near as bad as Between Two Ferns, but the joke seems to be, how awkward can I make everybody? Yeah. And I can only take so much of that.
Yeah,
I don't like cringe humor at all, but I watched the entire series, The Office. So like it was one of those where they found just the right balance, but there were parts in The Office where I was like, oh, God, you've got to be kidding me. And so like Between Two Ferns, I found it alternating between, if it depends on who the guest is. Mm-hmm. I found it funny. Like Charlize Theron seems to have no idea what she's in for until about halfway through hers. And then she starts laughing, like gets an hysterical laughing fit in her episode.
Yeah.
And it becomes funny. It becomes funny when they kind of know what they're in for.
Yeah.
And then he says the awkward stuff, because then they're like, they've got a preparedness to it.
Yeah.
And everything.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like this movie, everybody's prepared for it.
Everybody's prepared. You can't tell that everybody's in on the joke at the time. I knew it going into it, and I guess you will now too. But even so, and I'm like you guys, I'm not a huge cringe humor guy, but for whatever reason, I've always liked this series. Mm-hmm. And this movie is not good. It's like 82 minutes. This series has no business being an actual movie. Mm-hmm. But man, I laughed my ass off during this movie. And it's got the most ridiculous star power. It starts off with McConaughey. That proves to be a pretty payoff bit. I'll give away one of the jokes. So Keanu Reeves comes in very early in the movie, and he's doing his shtick, basically. He's like, do you find it offensive, or is it empowering that you're looked upon as being the least knowledgeable or least smart person in Hollywood? And Keanu looks like kind of confused, and Zach Galifianakis is like, do one stomp for yes, two stomps for no. It's fucking great. And they have to go on the road, and the star power that they get on the road is ridiculous. He goes to Dave Letterman, Brie Larson, Tessa Thompson, who he keeps referring to as Tesla Thompson.
All right.
Benedict Cumberbatch, a lot of Marvel guys. Paul Rudd is in this. It's ridiculous. Will Ferrell plays himself at the Funny or Die headquarters in Los Angeles. And he plays, of course, like the outsized version of himself. Like, all I'm interested in is money, and I don't give a shit about the actual person and all that stuff. And it shouldn't work, but it works on a level, and I compare it a little bit to Dr. Katz Professional Therapist. The old cartoon, the Squiggle Vision cartoon, where with H. John Benjamin and Jonathan Katz, where it's a vehicle for the comedians to do bits. But the funniest parts are when, like, Jonathan Katz starts interacting with them, or like Ben starts interacting with them, and it becomes awkward but not cringy. And that's what I think this movie is. I think it's well worth a watch. It's not perfect. It's not even really good, but it's funny.
All right.
Yeah. So I think you would like this movie.
I probably will.
Yeah.
And
it may be a little bit too cringy for you. And as Aaron, we were talking to Aaron Dicer earlier, the credits part of this is the best part of the movie.
All right. I'm going to recommend The Intouchables.
French movie?
The original?
The original.
Nice.
They made the remake, came out earlier this year, January, called The Upside. Kevin Hart and Bryan Cranston. The Intouchables came out in 2011, I believe.
Isn't this on the IMDb or AFI, like, top?
It might be. I know the IMDb
like
has it at 8.5, which is a very high rating.
Yeah.
Just for comparison, like I think the number one is still Shawshank Redemption, and it's 9.3. So that's what you're getting at in this one. It's hard to temper your expectations when a movie like this, and I had been putting it off forever. And in fact, when I was working at Hollywood 27, we had this movie, and I just didn't get a chance to watch it. And then I've had it on Blu-ray forever in cellophane, sitting there forever.
Oh, you've had it for a while?
Had it forever. Finally found a time to watch it, and it is as good as advertised.
Really?
Oh yes. It's one of those things where the actors in this are so likable, and so the guy who plays the guy in the wheelchair, his name's Philippe Francois Cluzet. He's great, but Omar Sy or Omar C, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. His last name is S-Y. Steals this movie completely because he's just so funny. Just taking off on all the things that this Philippe guy likes. And Philippe hires him initially because all the other people who have been hired for this position to be a caregiver and everything, they all have this phony sense to them. Like, I just want to do this to help people, or they're a little bit too blunt. I'm doing this for the money.
Because he's rich, right?
He's very rich. And Omar Sy comes in. He plays this guy named Driss. He comes in and he's just applying for the job so that unemployment can continue to give him benefits and everything. And he comes in, he's just basically like, all right, just tell me I'm not good enough for this job and just sign my paper and I'll be on my way. And Philippe really likes this. He really likes that attitude and everything. And so while Driss is rough around the edges and he comes from like a poor background and everything, the guy is very honest about things and teaches Philippe to look at things in different ways and everything. And just their interaction, two unlikely people to be friends, becoming friends. I don't think it's ever been as more satisfying as I've seen in this movie. It doesn't seem like they're just kind of like, well, because he's such a good guy, he's such a cool guy, this is why Philippe likes him, and you should just agree that they're friends. It really feels organic. That that they become these kind of friends by the end of it and everything. I highly recommend this movie. This is one of those that it's one of those where you even though I tempered my expectations, I was still able to like I agree with what the consensus is.
Wow.
On this movie.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but exactly that type of thing. That this is just an amazing movie. And it doesn't sound like it's anything, I'm speaking out of my ass, but like anything special, you know what I mean? Like anything like groundbreaking story-wise or anything like that.
It
Just
really isn't.
Well executed, I guess, right?
There's a whole scene where Philippe has I think it's a birthday party where he has an orchestra come over and play all these classics and everything during the birthday party. And so they're playing all these songs, and so Driss is hearing some of these songs, some of them for the first time, but he also has heard some of these songs in other areas. He's like, "Oh, I know this one." He's like, "I know this song. It's the one when you call this office in Paris or whatever. It's the call waiting music or whatever." Or it's like, this is on a commercial, and it's like, and then there's like one where he's like, then this one feels like you're riding on a horse, and you just see him like just doing the little motion of riding on a horse and everything. It's this big montage of this type of stuff. It's really fun, man. It's a really good movie.
Nice. I got to check it out.
Yep,
I got to do it.
I'm going to recommend a movie from 2016 that I've wanted to watch, but I only just recently caught last week, called Midnight Special.
Okay.
This is Michael Shannon. Kirsten Dunst is in this, Adam Driver, Joel Edgerton. The director is a guy named Jeff Nichols, who made the movie Mud.
Yeah.
And he also
Mud's good.
made the movie Loving with Joel Edgerton, which got a little bit of awards.
Oh,
buzz.
the interracial thing. Yeah.
couple. This is fantastic. It's got the kid who plays Bill in the It movies.
Yeah.
Only 2 years younger.
Jaden Martell.
Yes. Although now he's going by some E last name.
Oh, really?
After It. He's credited as Martell in this, and now he's like Jacob Elder Tour or something. I think he's changed his stage name.
Okay.
Clearly talented kid, even before I'd ever seen him in It. I'm watching this movie not knowing it's him, and I was like, that's the kid from It. And then I went and Googled it, and it said Martell, and I was like, that's not the kid from It. Anyway, basic premise is Dad, Michael Shannon, taking his son, who is special, away from what appears to be a extreme Mormon compound type religious environment where they live in their own city and they... Well, have you ever seen any of that? What's the guy's name? Warren Jeffs?
Yeah.
Okay, so it appears to be that kind of a
You're
society.
talking about special as in has special powers, right?
Yes, although the movie is coy about it for a while.
Okay. So they're just saying special,
Gifted,
okay,
unique, meant for bigger things.
Mm-hmm.
There's even a moment in the car where Joel Edgerton has decided to help out, and they're trying to get away from the religious fanatics, but also the cops are after them because it's being treated as kind of like a kidnapping. And the kid is in the back seat, and he starts spouting gibberish. And Joel Edgerton looks over at Michael Shannon, who's driving. He's like, turn on the radio and move the channels around. And he starts moving the channels around, and what's being said matches what the kid in the back seat is saying perfectly. And then they go to this gas station and stop. And the kid, they're like, stay in the car. And they go inside the gas station. Of course, the kid's not going to stay in the car. Let's check off, stay in the car. The kid gets out and walks and looks up in the sky. And he reaches his hands up. And this motherfucker pulls a satellite out of the sky, and pieces of flaming satellites start pew, 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 pew. And they pick him up, and they run to the van, and he's got powers, baby. And so they get to Kirsten Dunst. That's his mom. She hasn't seen him in forever. And by the end of the movie, there may or may not be... I don't think it spoils anything to say... Well, maybe it does. Adam Driver is an analyst who ultimately becomes the expert on this kid, even though nobody really knows what he is. Gets close enough, he gets to interview him. Kid shows off some of his tricks. Adam Driver may decide to help out, reunite him with Dad. I don't want to say any more, but I want to say more. I really enjoyed it. I would give this a solid A minus, because it's like 3 or 4 very unique movies all layered into one kind of road trip. And I just was riveted.
I can't remember hearing about this movie. It
didn't-
seems like it's something that would be on my radar.
I don't think, well, I only heard of it flipping channels. So I don't know if it hit theaters or had a wide release. But I know I've seen it mentioned online a few times as you should check out this movie if you like this movie. And I just never did until recently, and I really, really liked it.
This guy also did a movie called Take Shelter, which I've heard is really good, and I haven't seen. Has Michael Shannon in it as well.
Mm-hmm.
I got to check some stuff out. I'll tell you what not to check out.
What's that?
2010's The Tourist.
Oh, geez, Johnny Depp?
Johnny Depp and Angelina Jolie.
This is the one where he's supposed to be like the man who knew too little. Like he's caught up in this thing he doesn't know he's caught up in.
Yep. Yeah. He's a tourist.
I've seen this. It's not good.
He's American, and he goes over to Venice and meets this. He's on a train with this beautiful exotic lady played by Angelina Jolie, and she has something behind the eyes. She's got a whole thing going on. Two amazingly beautiful people. 2010, so kind of at the height of their powers. Beautiful setting, beautiful music, like a nice little kind of cat and mouse plot and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Partially written by Christopher McQuarrie. All the pedigree for something good, right?
Yep.
Fuck no.
No.
So what they're trying to do, very obviously, and this is Florian Hinkel von Donnersmarck,
who did The Lives of Others. There is another reason why this movie has a pedigree.
That movie's amazing, right?
The Lives of Others is fucking fantastic.
Yes. Apparently, he and his co-writers took a week to rewrite this script.
Mm-hmm.
And it filmed like in a crazy amount of time, like 11 days or something like that.
Yikes.
Which is crazy because the movie is slow and boring. There's a slow speed chase in Venice where they had to stay a certain speed limit, under a certain speed limit in the canals. And so it goes like you're like a pedal boat, basically. And you're supposed to be getting hyped about it. But it's like they're going 3 miles an hour.
The production had to stay below a certain...
Correct. And they didn't try to film like it was speeding up or anything.
That's interesting.
They just went at the 3 miles an hour. People are running on the side of them and like keeping up with the boats. I'm like, why are you in the fucking boat in the fucking first place? And what they're going... God damn this fucking movie. I was watching it like, what? Do something. Do something. And they were going for like a old school international like Cary Grant and Audrey Hepburn or like Jean Harlow or something like that. And they were like, oh, beautiful people, kind of serpentine plot, and let's go, And it didn't go. It's slow and it's shitty. And there's a twist at the end that, like, had the movie been better, would have been, oh, really cool. And I swear to God, it had to have been the only contribution from Christopher McQuarrie. And it's thrown in at the last fucking second. Then, cut to credits. But man, I tried to give this movie a shot like 9 years after it came out, and I hated it. I hated myself for watching it. But I just at one point I was like, I'm going to see it to the end.
I definitely saw this movie, but I don't even remember the twist you're talking about.
It's because it's thrown. It may be the last line of dialogue.
But this movie made money. I mean, like domestically, $67 million, not very much, $100 million budget, but it made 278 worldwide.
Yeah, because it was the weird thing about this is that it got nominated for a few Golden Globes for comedy.
Yeah, now this was one of those movies that I think a lot of people brought up was a definite example of the Hollywood Foreign Press getting wined and dined to give it nominations, because nobody thought this movie was awards worthy.
It's the craziest thing. Yeah, it's got a terrible overall aggregate score. Like this was one of those Ricky Gervais hosted Golden Globes, and he just like roasted the shit out of them.
Mm-hmm.
And Depp's defense was, it made $278 million.
Yeah.
But fuck this movie in all of its holes simultaneously.
Yeah.
Every hole of this movie.
You are sounding like a gangster from The Wire right now. I'm going to fuck you in all three holes.
Still haven't seen The Wire.
This movie came out December 10th, 2010, along with Chronicles of Narnia: Voyage of the Dawn Treader.
That was a banner weekend right there.
That was the end of Chronicles of Narnia after that movie came out.
And the end of The Tourist.
Well, that'll do it for this week. Keep going to SinCast, presented by Cinemasins on Facebook. Cinemasins Twitter, Music Video Sins Twitter. We have Discord. If you want to get on Discord and you haven't yet, go to Facebook and get me on the private messages. I'll send you a link. Strings.
Yes.
Strings has been out for a week at this point.
That's right. It's so good.
What are you waiting for?
Yeah.
What the hell are you
I'll tell
waiting
you what,
for?
we mentioned this during like the Patreon hangout thing that we did just before this, but I really like the idea of the cast of It, the kids cast of It in your book.
Yeah.
I think you can slot kids in. Bentley would be Finn Wolfhard, do you think?
Yeah, probably. Although he'd have to. Can Finn Wolfhard not be the jokey guy?
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
because he's so funny. I wonder if he can like button it up.
He's in the Goldfinch, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. So anyway, I like that idea, and it's got a very similar dynamic to those friends that are so tight knit. It's awesome. You pick it up, pick up the Ables, go to the Cinemasins website, and go through there. Get Ables, get strings. It's awesome.
Absolutely. So that'll do it for this week. It's Chris Atkins and Jeremy Scott and Barrett Scher. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening. Comment on our episodes on our SoundCloud page. Check us out on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Reddit. And be sure to visit cinemasins.com.
Remember when you did the scream like the space monkey in Ad Astra?
Just popped out of me. There's a space monkey in Ad Astra?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
For one scene that is very unnecessary.
There are two space monkeys.
That's true. There are two of them.
Yes.
Two space monkeys.
And they're angry.
They're very angry.
Angry monkeys?
They're face bitey.
They are upset that they are on this ship.
With Brad Pitt?
With, I don't know, the 26 Norwegians who were on that ship or whoever that was Norwegian or Dutch or Netherlands.
They sure ate them in a hurry, though, because there was like a distress call.
Yeah.
And then by the time they show up to save them, everyone is et.
Yeah.
Everyone's
dead.
Et.
Everyone's been et.
I got a new DVD in the mail I'm excited about.
Yeah?
Finally on home video is that rap movie Bodied that Dicer recommended.
Yeah.
That was a YouTube Red original or whatever.
Right. We had it, we briefly mentioned it, I think, last year.
Yeah.
And it didn't have a real trailer.
And it didn't have a home release until a month ago. I was on Amazon and I saw it and I was like, sweet. And I clicked it and bought it, only then to realize I had pre-ordered it, but it came out. I got it in the mail yesterday or the day before. Very excited about that. He actually recommended that ahead of Blind Spotting, and I ended up finding Blind Spotting first. And now I think it would be hard for Bodied to live up to Blind Spotting. But I like the idea of a white kid who can rap really well, pushing the boundaries of what he's allowed to say in rap battles. I think that's intriguing.
Yeah. Oh, is that kind of what it's about?
Yeah, and produced by Eminem.
Yeah, I mean, I just admire somebody like Eminem and Beastie Boys in particular. I can't think of any, I guess, Vanilla Ice. But even when they potentially, it wouldn't end their career if they did that. It's very cool to me that they never even came close.
Snow? Well, is Snow a white guy?
Yeah, he is. He's Canadian, baby.
I don't think he ever used it.
Snow, I believe, is on a recent song. It's either, there's two things. Snow has been steadily working since the 90s, but I think there's a new pop song out fairly recently that samples Informer.
Oh, really?
And it's, yeah.
Yeah, I'm reading a review that says it's a film in which the hero seeks a pass to speak the most taboo word there is in the world of white folk. So he's seeking a pass. I guess he's trying to get people to say it's okay for him to get to that point. To, I guess, rap so well that he's allowed.
It's almost like Tarantino.
Almost.
Tarantino had a different reasoning for being able to say that.
What was his reason?
Because his mom dated black guys and they threw it around liberally at his household, and so he was he said he told, I think the legend is he told Spike Lee that I'm more black than you are, or
I remember
something
that.
like this.
Yeah.
And that
Spike Lee beat the shit out of him.
I don't even know if that was like, that was probably not face to face. That was probably in the press somewhere. But that was what Spike Lee later he put Michael Rappaport in that. What was it, Bamboozled?
Bamboozled,
yeah. That where Rappaport said something along the lines that apparently Tarantino.
Well, and that
said.
movie's about blackface too.
Yeah.
Like, he performs in blackface in that movie.
Yeah, that's was it? It was Damon Wayans.
I think it was Damon Wayans. There was a time where I watched everything Spike Lee made. That's why I can make jokes about Girl 6 and, and Bamboozled. I saw them all.
Yeah,
Bamboozled a comedy? Like, it's a wacky comedy.
It's trying to be a biting. It's trying to be I Heart Huckabees.
Oh yeah,
I think it's trying to have some bite and some comedy all at once.
What a weird comparison. Because you hate that movie, right? You hate I Heart Huckabees?
Yes, but in terms of what they were going for, I think it's very similar. I'm already talking out of my ass. Let's move on and talk about Pixar.
No, I missed a lot of Pixar.
I just try to change the subject.
I missed a lot of those mid-career Spike Lee stuff. I saw Girl 6, right?
Yeah, but there's that run where he made Hurricane. He Got Game, Clockers, Girl 6, Bamboozle was all in there.
I saw He Got Game, and I saw the Hurricane. He made the Hurricane?
Yeah, didn't he?
No, that was Norman Jewison who made the Hurricane.
Okay. Sorry.
Which is a really good movie.
Yeah,
it's a good movie, but
look, if Denzel's the star, there's a 50-50 chance Spike Lee made that movie.
That's very true. Or Tony Scott.
I caught the very end of Fallen again last night.
Oh, it's so good.
And Denzel, man, just owns that shit.
The great failing of that movie is that the first 3/4 aren't quite as good as that last fourth. That last 25% is just, it's on another level.
It is, but it's also Denzel just single-handedly lifting up that movie.
Yeah,
because it's got narration and it's got all those awful little cutaways to the Azazel can.
Lots of sepia tones.
God, I forgot how big John Goodman was back in those days. He looked unhealthy as hell.
Yeah.
He looked like Michael Douglas's partner in Basic Instinct.
Oh yeah,
you know what'd be awesome is if he's like, hey, come over here and we'll show you how the pool works, and then he and his wife are in bikinis and they got the wine out and they're all yeah, it's a swingers party and
Will Ferrell sketches from SNL.
Yeah. This is how the pool works, Jeremy. You're gonna love it.
come to the hot tub.
I hope when you move into this house, remember me. Oh no! Oh no!
Why is it true?
Oh no! Oh no!